Okay, so this part I'm going to read clearly comes after the video I just did on taking care of yourself looks like. Okay, it's the section of how to work through these issues and understand them in others. Obviously, the issues they're referring to have already been previously mentioned in the chapter. Different unhealthy attachment styles, shame and guilt after trauma, how secrecy impacts the ability to communicate boundaries, different types of violations of boundaries that even we grow up with, even with our own caretakers, our own family, friends, community, boundaries and trauma. So how to work through these issues and understand them in others. Change is possible at any time, no matter what you've experienced in life. If you notice that your boundaries are rigid, consider ways that you can create healthier ones. For example, it's possible to change an attachment style when you're aware and ready to do the work of shifting parts of who you are. For example, if you avoid commitment in relationships, consider the benefits of a committed relationship. Instead of continuing in a way that has felt comfortable in the past because of your trauma, decide to do something different. I'm actually going to repeat that. That's really good. Instead of continuing in a way that has felt comfortable in the past because of your trauma, decide to do something different. That takes a little self-examination, taking self-inventory, creating awareness around your behavior, your feelings, your perspectives, your beliefs, your patterns. And then understanding and linking the two of how your past has helped this come to be and why you find comfort in what you find comfort in right now, whether it's healthy, unhealthy, whatever it may be, your different attachment styles, how your past has affected you and your decisions now, your coping mechanisms or defense mechanisms that you use to protect yourself from any further hurt, things like that. Taking inventory of all of that will help to implement this step. So once you have that information, instead of continuing in a way that has felt comfortable in the past because of your trauma, because what we went through, even if it's very toxic and traumatizing, because it's familiar to our brain, it is comfortable. It's familiar. Not comfortable in a good way, in a safe way, but comfortable as in, I know and can predict somewhat of this chaos to protect myself. And your brain will do these things. So in order to be able to shift from that, by taking inventory of what your current patterns are, you can now choose different. Okay? So instead of continuing in a way that has felt comfortable in the past because of your trauma, decide to do something different. Start by sharing more information if you have issues with vulnerability. Ask others for help with things that you would typically do on your own. Lean into the reciprocal nature of healthy relationships and share yourself with another person as a way to build connections. I know that sounds so like, duh, why wouldn't anyone want that? That's what we all want to various degrees. But because of things that we've gone through and how it shaped us from those environments and experiences, we actually do have our own walls and our own difficulties with our own boundaries and beliefs about ourselves that actually impose or go against that. So again, it's so important to take personal inventory on ourselves so that we can identify and bring awareness to how we ourselves stand in the way of what we truly want, which is healthy reciprocal relationships. environments and people that feel safe and sound and stable, and there's trust and respect and autonomy and love present. These are all things that we all want. Real, actual human connection, deep, meaningful connections, great problem solving, all of these things that are encompassed in actual healthy relationships that are reciprocal towards one another. So again, right back to why taking inventory on ourselves is so important. You never know what, we never know what we ourselves could be doing to get in our own way as well, and what we're allowing that we actually don't want to allow. If you're in a relationship with someone who has attachment issues, instead of just accepting what you see, challenge it. Not in a confrontational, negative way, but in a loving, assertive way. Curiosity even. Name what you're observing. It might be even okay to share your hypothesis of the other person's behavior. If you don't speak up, the relationship will remain unhealthy unless and until the underlying issues are addressed. Kind of goes to the point where things are not just going to fix themselves just because you love each other. Love is not enough. If there are underlying issues, they need to be brought up. They need to be held in a conversation, a respectful back and forth. They need to be held in a conversation where both people feel seen, heard, validated, and understood, even if you don't agree. Make that clear. Agreement is not the goal. The goal is to be seen, heard, respected, and understood, and validated. And then from there, you can work towards a solution that works for the both of you, that leads you closer to a much healthier relationship for the both of you. If boundaries are needed, that is also very welcomed and encouraged, because every healthy relationship has boundaries. No healthy relationship is boundaryless. Make that very clear. Every healthy relationship has boundaries. And I don't mean boundaries around the both of you. I mean around each of you individually as well. You may have your own boundaries that your partner will need to respect, and vice versa. You will also need to honor and respect their boundaries as well. This goes into both of you feeling safe in the relationship. If you're in a relationship with someone who has experienced trauma, don't try to do the work for them by enabling them. That is a big one. That is big. I had to take a moment there because I also have had a history of struggling with that one. I'm making progress now, but I did struggle with that most of my life. If you're in a relationship with someone who has experienced trauma, don't try to do the work for them by enabling them. Okay? And I see how a lot of people struggle with this one too. It is so important to learn to differentiate your role from what their role and responsibility is in their life. Okay? It's so important to preserve the autonomy in that area as well as others. But in that area is so important to not enmesh and to not try to take on a role that is unrealistic and hurtful, such as trying to save them, fix them, or even interfere with natural consequences of their life by trying to protect them from it. You know, it's okay to want better for others. It's okay to feel a way to see your loved one go through certain things. What's not okay is now choosing behaviors and actions making decisions either for them or on their behalf, or making decisions that infringe the boundary of where your path is and where their path is, where you make decisions for yourself and where they need to make decisions for themselves, where you face your own consequences of your decisions and actions, and they need to face the consequences and decisions of their own actions as well, without interference. Because whether or not we are in a relationship with anyone, it is so important to respect the fact that we all have our own journeys. Yes, even your partner that you've been with your whole life, even your kids, and it doesn't matter how close you are, they are still their own individual. You are still your own individual, and those boundaries need to be respected for the relationship to have a chance to be healthy. We cannot cross over onto someone else's path and tell them what they should or should not be doing. We cannot cross over and try to take their consequence from them or save them, or we can't try to go in and now try to fix them. No. And if we catch ourselves doing that, it's important to bring self-awareness to that and ask ourselves, why do we feel the need to do that? Ask ourselves the right questions, or go to a mental health professional so that they can ask you or help ask you yourself those kind of questions, and help provide that safe space for you to find your own answer as to why you feel the need to do that. And work on your boundaries with yourself even. Boundaries are not just for other people, they're for ourselves too. So in this case, for example, for me, my boundary is when someone is sharing with me something that they are going through, I validate my feelings that I have about how I feel about my loved one going through what they're going through. Do what I want to see them go through that? No. But there is a boundary though, where while I honor my feelings, I also honor that this is their path, their decision, and they have to make sense of their experience in their own way, in their own timing, so that they can walk away with what they truly needed and now know how to handle future situations that may be similar, that might come up in their path. They are now better equipped moving forward, that if anything similar were to come up, they know how to approach the situation better. It also will grant them the gift of self-awareness and learning about themselves and learning how to problem solve better. By us infringing on that for them, or even saying statements like, oh man, if it was me, I would have blah, blah, blah. That also is a violation of a boundary, because now you're stating what you would do in that situation rather than providing the space for them to figure out what they want to do. It's all about safe space. I'm a presence in your life. I am safe for you to be in a relationship with and vent to and be vulnerable and be yourself and let your guard down and things like that, while also respecting your autonomy and your individuality and your path, and believing in you enough that you will figure out your own answer and understand yourself better and grow. Hope this helps somebody. The exercise, if anyone's interested, I will also be doing it myself right here after this video. You grab your journal on a separate sheet of paper to complete the following exercise. It's just 2 questions. 1, in what ways has your trauma impacted your ability to set boundaries? And 2, what words can you use to reassure yourself that it's okay to implement the limits and expectations that you need in order to feel safe? Hope this helps anyone who gains value from this video. I feel honored. Thank you for sharing, always sharing your experiences in the comments. I definitely do invite more of that. I also learn from you guys as well. This is a safe space, so thank you for opening up here on my channel as well. I appreciate you guys.